Hello, everybody, and welcome to the SOGOpod, sponsored in part by Nutsack. That's our podcast theme song for now. I'll have to go in and edit that song.
Let's find the karaoke version of Roxanne and just put that over it.
Oh God. It's been a week, guys.
Yeah, it's been a whole week. It's been a whole 7 days since last recording, and nothing has happened.
Absolutely fucking nothing. It has been a boring ass week.
The problem is I listen to a lot of podcasts, and that's where I get a lot of my news, specifically related to video games and whatnot. But lately, I've been listening to a lot of homebrewing podcasts because Brad has been influencing me, and my love of craft beer has been influencing me to want to get back into brewing. Well, I mean, it's not like we didn't brew that long ago. I mean, maybe about 4 months ago. Yeah. But doing it more regularly and more, putting the money in and actually buying the stuff that I want to get is hard to do because Brad is a cheapskate, as it's been confirmed. So getting him to want to buy an old refrigerator, in order to use it to ferment at a consistent temperature, instead of using a bucket of water and frozen bottles of water. Being able to control it and make good beer, because everybody knows who's made beer that the hardest part is the fermentation. Yeah. You can fucking make the best beer in the world, but if you fuck up fermenting that beer, it's going to taste like shit. So, controlling your temperature, that's the most important part of the fermentation, and having a clean fermentation environment. So a refrigerator would handle both of those things very well. But, like I said, convincing him to buy an old refrigerator, or go halvesies on an old refrigerator. I bought his old turkey fryer off of him. Yeah. So that I didn't have to rely on or worry about him complaining about not having his turkey fryer, especially because Thanksgiving's coming up. Yeah. But also because, I don't want to spend the $90 to buy a brand new turkey fryer when I got this perfectly fine turkey fryer sitting right here at my house that's been sitting here since the last time we brewed. Yeah. So I just said, fuck it, I'll buy this off of you. And not actually with no cash exchanged hands. I just said, next time we brew, I'll buy all the ingredients. All you got to do is come over and make the beer and drink it. Yeah. That's the
fun part.
The deal, yeah.
Talking about video game news, I actually do have something here that Carly could have weighed in on. Shenmue 3 creator says he could, quote, do with a bit more money, end quote.
Yeah, I would bet.
After all that money.
I mean, it's still really, here's the thing.
How much did he end up getting? He met the goal twice.
Oh, yeah, blew way past the goal. Highest selling Kickstarter at this point ever.
Damn.
Highest grossing Kickstarter. Well, I don't know if it's highest grossing, because, I guess you consider, in my opinion, if you consider grossing to be how much money you asked for versus how much money you got, that's what I would consider grossing on Kickstarter, not just the total money you got, because they asked for $2 million. And when you ask for $2 million and get $6 million, you didn't really shoot over the amount as much as, say, somebody that asked for $40,000 and got $4 million. That's highest grossing, in my opinion. But it's the highest earning Kickstarter for sure. He says he can definitely go with more money. Of course, but he's not going to get that money from Kickstarter. He's going to get that money from Sony. Somebody's going to pay that money. I think that he was probably saying that they could use more money from the public side of things to maybe keep the publisher side of things out of the equation, because that was, he's a man of his art. Yeah. Yu Suzuki.
Even that's in the article a little bit. Yu Suzuki has said that he may prioritize storytelling over visual presentation for Shenmue 3. So it's going to be ugly, but tell a good story.
Yeah, but if it looks like Shenmue 2, I don't think any of the Shenmue fans are going to complain about it not looking like a fucking visual masterpiece. Because while the game was considered a highlight of the Dreamcast and like a visually stunning game back in the day, I don't think that it holds up at all. No matter what art style they go with nowadays, it's not going to hold up in the next 5 years.
It could be cell-shaded and they wouldn't care, I'm sure.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, if you just make it look like a high-res version of Shenmue 2, yeah, people will like it. That's what they want, you know? That's what they're asking for.
Speaking of cell shading, I just picked up a copy of your second favorite Zelda.
Yes.
Wind Waker.
Yeah. I was going to say.
I picked up Wind Waker, and one of my top favorite, it's probably my
number two. If we split the delineation by 3D versus 2D, it is the best 3D Zelda game.
I really, really thought Twilight Princess was underrated.
I just could not. Well, I played the Wii version. I don't like the waggle controls. I mean, and it was slow. It was ugly as fuck too.
I thought it looked great.
If you played it on a CRT, I bet you it probably looked amazing. But I never played it on CRT. I played it on an HD TV with a Wii, and even with composite cables, it just looked just a messy textures. Like that's why I like the shell shading of Wind Waker, because it's
hard to fuck
clean. Yeah, it's clean as shit, and you can play that game now, and it still looks fucking amazing. Like the draw distances that they get away with in that game, you can sit like fucking miles out in the ocean and use your telescope and look at the fucking island and see the people running around and going about their daily lives.
That may have been why they went with that, actually, because of the ocean theme. Yeah,
it's like, because they always had that all this open space, and all they do is render ocean. I mean, you could get away with huge draw distances and just clean. There's just not much jank in that game. Everything is just, it's like, it feels like the full, to me it feels like the full interpretation of the Zelda art style into a 3D plane, because I don't know if Ocarina of Time holds up at all.
It really
nowadays, you know.
I played the emulated version about 2 or 3 months before the 3DS version came out, and the emulated version looked god awful. I mean, it was just bad. The fucking Smike nose. The 3DS version is a lot better looking.
Well, you think about how often, like, when you're in interiors and it's all pre-rendered backgrounds, and it just feels, like I said, just feels messy. It just doesn't have the, I mean, even if you just ignore the low-res textures and you ignore the low-poly models, it's basically just a 3D version of Link to the Past. I mean, there really isn't much difference to it when it comes to, like, what you do in the game. I mean, I will not debate. I think Link to the Past is the best Zelda game, but I also think that, like, you can't deny Ocarina of Time's, like, impact on the gaming industry.
I was gonna say, as far as how it holds up, Ocarina of Time is way overrated nowadays.
Yeah.
When it came out, of course, it was fucking revolutionary. I mean, it was insane. It was like nothing we'd ever seen before, and I give it that. It was on the level of Mario 64 with how
and
insane
it's like
it was.
Introduction of, like, how do you combat enemies in a 3D space? Well,
that's how you do it. Fucking
Z-targeting.
Z-targeting. If nothing else, that game gave the Z-targeting was the biggest, by far to me, the biggest contribution to gaming that Ocarina of Time had, or any Zelda has ever had.
Definitely.
Well, maybe not any Zelda, but any 3D Zelda has ever had is Z-targeting.
Right. Yeah, and even at that point, like, the other Zelda games got a lot better at handling combat in a 3D environment without Z-targeting. You know, like,
if you didn't Z-target in that one, then you were fucked. You couldn't do anything.
Yeah, the other ones I felt like, you know, like I could get through Wind Waker pretty handedly without Z-targeting. Like they did a better job with, like, how the camera moves around and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like I said, the impact it had on the gaming industry as a whole, because it introduced, like,
and still having,
like, if you just look at the lineage of it, the evolutionary chart of games that have been inspired by Ocarina of Time and, like, using that style. But, like, I just don't see anyone nowadays saying, well, I'm going to make the next Ocarina of Time. You know, it's like, it's so fucking hard to do.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, what do you got? We basically have real models now. Like, you're making a movie that moves and you can control it.
Video games are getting fucking weird. Like, that's the thing.
But that's what they have to do. They got to get weird because everyone's tired of playing Jack Bauer.
Yeah. It's so easy to...
I'm not tired of playing Jack Bauer because I love Metal Gear Solid. But...
Right. I will play Jack... I will continue to play Jack Bauer.
Oh, yes. But everyone's tired of playing Jason Statham.
Yeah. The modern military combat shooter, you know, all the samey stuff that's been out there.
And they're tired of playing Gandalf. Or actually, no, because Gandalf hasn't been done that well. Someone make a good Wizard game. Do it.
Yeah, if you make a good Wizard game, then we'll talk.
Everybody's tired of playing Aragorn, rather.
Yeah.
Shadow
of Mordor was a fun game.
It was.
I mean, let's just anyway. Their games are just really good, but being a good game nowadays doesn't have the same impact as being a good game like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Like if you were a good game in 2000, you were a fucking classic, and you're going to be ranked on these greatest 100 greatest games list, and you're going to be like near the top because you made a fucking great game that's still good today. Yeah. 15 years ago, but.
Or did you get something like Shadow of Mordor? It's going to be like, it was
a fucking flavor of the week for 2014, but nobody's talking about it now. You know?
I mean, good game, but
great game.
Not that much impact.
The Nemesis system should have had more of an impact. There's so many games that have come out recently that I'm like, you know what's been good in this? A Nemesis system.
Yeah.
You know, like imagine Metal Gear Solid 5. Just get rid of Skullface as a character.
Yeah.
And just have a Nemesis system.
Commander Nemesis system.
Yeah, have the opposite of the Fulton system, but for your bad guys.
Nice.
You know? Like something like that.
I guess they kind of have that with PvP stuff, because you can have a rival.
Yeah.
And like if you attack them, then like they remember you.
And they get that real revenge wormhole opening up and everything. Yeah. It's so confusing. Like there's a lot of problems I have with that the whole fob thing in general when it comes to Metal Gear Solid 5. That's a whole other can of worms, though.
If you're any good at the game, then it's
the problem I have with it is the fact that like I shouldn't be knocked when I'm not playing. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I really feel like you should always have a chance to defend yourself. Or, like, if somebody attacks you and you fail to defend while you're offline, you should automatically get a revenge wormhole.
Yeah.
Like, even if it has been, like, 24 hours since you got fucking attacked. It should just be a thing, just so you could at least get one chance to get your stuff back or to, like, you know, hit the dude back. But, yeah, I mean, it's super confusing, convoluted, and... Yeah, I'm really excited about Metal Gear Online. Shit that I've seen come out of that is fucking insane. And what I think is going to happen is that a lot of those maps might actually be deployable and run aroundable in like a single player game.
That'd be awesome.
You know, because they're fucking huge. And that's how they're going to be putting Camp Omega in the game. So, you know.
Camp Omega fucking multiplayer. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Like, the concepts of it are cool. It's just an interesting way of doing it. And it's like, if they treat it like almost like a GTA Online, because what they've done with that is fucking insane.
Oh, yeah.
That shit's
I've seen some great stuff
that shit's just become insane. And I wish that I, like, was still playing it, because, like, I got out of it and when I got rid of the game, because I was like, well, you know, I've gotten everything I wanted out of this game. And then the next thing you know, they're releasing, like, this fucking create your own fucking game mode and releasing like all this fresh new content. Now there's one update that pretty much turns it into the game you wanted it to be, which was like Journey, but with Grand Theft Auto. Yeah. You know, where like you're just running around doing your thing in your own city, and the next thing you know, there's a dude there. You know, because like when it came out on last gen consoles, there was like a RAM constraint with like how many cars could be driving around and trying to load up all these, because like, you know, playing Grand Theft Auto, all the game has to worry about is where you're at and loading enough cars where you're at. But now imagine trying to load that same number of cars for 16 other players on the same map. That's the size of fucking Los Santos. So now imagine trying to keep enough cars and keep enough pedestrians, keep enough animals in that general area to occupy the time of 16 different players at a time. It's fucking ridiculous. Yeah. So, yeah, there was a lot of problems with that, but it's gotten a lot better on the PC and with the next-gen consoles and everything.
Yeah. Going back to the problem with games like now and game development and everything, I think people are tired of playing people. I guess it'd be the best way to put it.
I think we want to play... I think that we focus so much on like intriguing multiplayer experiences because AI was so shit. Like we got so like AI just didn't go anywhere for so long. Yeah. So we were just like, well, fucking the computer can't keep up with human players, so we'll just do more asynchronous, multiplayer stuff. We'll do more stuff where more people are involved with it. But the problem is that now you're getting tired of playing
with other people.
Yeah. It's like, no, I want my fucking computers.
And it seems like that's where Steam's getting its momentum from, is because that's where all the single player experiences are going now. Yeah. Is PC cheap release arcade style stuff, I mean, not necessarily arcade, but like Xbox arcade stuff.
Yeah, those very small singular experiences. But the problem is it gets so, they need...
It's gotten watered down, yeah.
They need to be better about their system, because it's gotten so big that more and more people are trying to get their stuff on there, and it's easy. Just pay a certain amount of money and your shit's on there.
Yeah.
So people with money to spare will throw up a shitty mobile port onto Steam.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Not buy it.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to buy it, but at the same time, now it's clogging up this
it needs to be like an ethnic game cleansing.
Yeah, I feel like there should just be I think they should just take more of a staunch approach to what goes on that platform and what doesn't. I mean, if Microsoft and Sony do it, I mean, there's two ways you can do it. You can either keep it as open as it is, and then the console makers follow suit and they let their systems become more open. Because if for instance, if you imagine the Xbox One, but it had a marketplace and system that was as open as, say, iOS or Android Marketplace.
Yeah, which it kind of does.
It's super open, but it's still it's not cost effective for those developers to put their stuff out there. I think Sony's gotten pretty good about it with their system, self-publishing system that they have now on there. But at the same time, it causes that problem with stuff being watered down. What gets surfaced to the front, and
but then again, that's a good and a bad thing, though, because then you get people like us that are just like, "Why don't I make a game?" And then they make something with all these crazy ideas that just never have been thought
possibly
of,
fulfill,
like a game developer couldn't think of. Yeah, kind of like GoldenEye. That was just a bunch of dudes. None of them ever made a game, and they came up with this masterpiece of. They
had never made a game like that. They never made a first-person shooter, especially not a first-person shooter on a fucking console. We're talking about the dudes who made fucking Banjo-Kazooie. What are they're going to say? Well, how do we make a fucking first-person shooter?
But at the time,
when all you had to pull from was Quake and Unreal and shit like that. You didn't really have anything crazy. You didn't have anything that was doing what GoldenEye was trying to do.
Yeah.
That sort of modern military style thing on a console.
Yeah. I was watching a documentary about it and about, I guess, games in general. And one of the guys was like, well, why can't we do Thing X? I think it had something to do with how they actually aim. And, the developer was like, well, it's just not done.
That's just not what you do. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't do that. So why the fuck not? And they did it, and it was good.
Yeah.
So, it's just that happy accident kind of thing going, and then you end up with a great game.
But then you get the opposite of that. You get something like Metroid Prime, which is we've already seen that console first-person shooters are doable, and they can be done well, especially with a twin-stick format. But then they just throw all that out and say, well, here's how we're going to do a console first-person shooter. And it's fucking confusing as shit when you first get on it. But
now, Metroid Prime 2 was good. Echoes was okay, and then Other M happened.
Yeah.
Other M was
I feel like they were just fucking,
I don't know what happened with Other M.
I mean, everybody says it was everybody wants to blame Team Ninja because it was Team Ninja, and they have a history of being fuck-arounds when it comes to shit. But they make solid fucking games. You can be pissed at Team Ninja all you want, but they made fucking Ninja Gaiden, and fucking Dead or Alive is a fucking solid as shit fighting game.
It really
is. So they make good games.
Maybe not that kind
You also had to take into account that Nintendo is super fucking, they're very they're helicopter parent about their fucking properties. They're just they're so hands-on that it almost confines the developer to have to do it a particular way, and it's the way they want it to be done, which can make bad games.
Yeah. I want to see more stuff, though, like Okami.
Yeah.
And, what's that damn game? I mean, it's still a human, but it's a completely different take on everything. Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah,
I want to see more stuff like that, where you're not shooting anything.
Well,
you don't even have
a
weapon, really.
Stuff like that, but you're seeing it coming from these indie developers now.
Yeah,
you're not going to see a big AAA game like that anymore, which is a problem. You know, I mean, there are some developers who can get away with stuff like that, like. Team Ico is they still have well, I guess it's another team now actually technically making it, but The Last Guardian, which is basically the follow up.
Oh, they brought it
Shadow
back.
Colossus. Yeah, it's supposed to be coming out at the beginning of next year.
Nice. So. Is it going to be exclusive?
Yeah, it's PlayStation.
Motherfucker.
I mean, what do you expect? It's a Sony property.
Maybe PC. Maybe. I pray for PC.
I'm still keeping my fingers crossed for a possible Bloodborne release, but I know that's never going to happen.
I mean, maybe later on.
Like, the smart move for Sony, and granted, they don't have to do shit. You know, they're fucking winning, and they're going to keep winning because...
This is such a weird generation, though, isn't it? They're both winning. They're both
making great
records.
Fucking console. They're both great consoles. They're both selling like fucking hotcakes, and people are buying them because they just want new hardware, as we talked about last week.
And I mean, they're both shattering these records, and PS4 is doing ungodly, and people are talking about gaming dying? Fuck you!
Yeah,
we're
and
breaking
if anything, what we're seeing is the death of the mobile genre in a way. Like,
God, I hope so.
Like, in a weird way, like everybody was championing the death of consoles and the death of PC. Like, and it comes in cycles. You know, PC gaming was dead right when the Xbox 360 came out. It was like, PCs are dead, you know, it's best-selling console ever fucking made. Everybody's just making their specs to the 360. PC gaming's dead. Shitty console ports.
Yeah.
And then as this generation went on, consoles couldn't keep up anymore, so developers started focusing back on PC.
And then
Steam
they made
happened. Fucking great PC games, and then Steam got better, and all these things just lined up, and everybody's like, well, PC gaming's back dead. Consoles, and then mobile came out, and everybody's like, well, consoles are dead. Mobile never signaled the death of consoles. I don't know why everybody conflated those two things together. Like the rise of mobile gaming does not kill consoles.
I think
it kills handhelds.
Yeah, it actually is very badly harming handhelds and I think that's why we got the new 3DS.
Yeah,
it's so terrible.
Which they haven't done anything with.
I mean, there's nothing. There's like a game.
Yeah.
That has to have it. Otherwise,
and at least the branding of like DSi had like
a camera.
It had a brand and it had other things to it. That's like, you know, this might be worth a purchase. But the new 3DS just doesn't physically jump off the page.
Physically, the exact same, except for the innards are.
They made a slightly more powerful.
Like, okay, so you upgraded your PC a little bit.
And they made like the screens the same size.
Yeah,
I think that's all they really did. Like, it used to be like the 3D screen is bigger than the other screen.
Yeah.
So now they made them both the same size,
which is weird.
Yeah, and they put 2 thumbsticks on there.
Yeah, and from what I understand, the thumbstick's kind of strange, but like they improved the regular thumbstick. The other one's like real tiny and nubby.
Yeah, it's just a little. It's like one of those ThinkPad mouse
like
cursors.
The clip mouse.
Yeah, that's like the little nub.
Yeah, the little red clip mouse.
Yeah, red clip mouse. I thought you said like clip mouse. But yeah, it's a clip mouse.
Yeah,
that little nub. That's the fucking thumbstick on the new 3DS.
I'll give you a thumbstick, mate.
Okay, you know, I'd be okay if you just fucking made it a touchpad or gave your fucking touchscreen capacitive touch instead of, you know, this shitty touchscreen that's been outmoded for fucking years now.
It works pretty well.
I mean, it works, but it definitely, imagine a 3DS with multi-touch.
Yeah.
You know, a 3DS where you can actually use your finger and it feels more accurate, you know?
Yeah. That was something I had to get real used to, because whenever I play my 3DS and I have to use a touchscreen, I have a habit of like, I'll hold my stick, my stylus in my mouth.
Yeah.
I like hold it in my teeth and just like you kind of nibble on it while I'm playing, and then when I need it, I just pick it up and click if I need to.
Right.
Don't normally need to. It's just habit to have it in my mouth.
Yeah.
When I was playing the, I guess it was Metroid Prime 3DS or whatever the hell it was called. I was playing that, and some of the actual controls for the game were touchscreen controls on the side.
Yeah.
So, like, you had to reach over and hit the touchscreen, and it worked. But I was just like, not physical. What do I do? I actually had to look for buttons, and that's just something I don't do.
Yeah. You should know where your buttons are at. Yeah. And I think that's like a whole other issue with like touchscreens and controllers and things like that. Like, but again, this going back to that original train of thought, this console generation proves that people are going to keep buying consoles.
Yeah.
Like, it's just what's going to happen. Like, people aren't ready to give up on their boxes in their living rooms. The question is, though, will the companies in 5 years be in good enough financial shape to reveal a new console?
I don't know if it'll be 5 years.
But I don't know if this generation can last 7 like the last one did.
I don't think it can, mostly because of high bandwidth memory is going to be a big drop in the bucket. Yeah. DDR4 RAM becoming standard is going to hurt. With HBM and everything else what is the switch? It's a die switch for Intel and AMD.
Yeah.
I think they're both going. I can't remember what size. It's like 12 nanometers.
When there's a major shift in hardware standards on PC, then the whole concept of these consoles being just like PCs kind of gets thrown out the window. Yeah. Because now these developers are going to have to start focusing on their PC ports again.
Yeah. What's really interesting, though, is that APUs are really starting to come out, and there's high potential for a usable gaming APU, like in a desktop. I mean, can you imagine an all-in-one
like a processor? Really good high-end APU would be fucking wonders on the PC market. Like, especially for like a Steam box
and
kind of scenario.
I mean, you got consoles with APU. Yeah. If they got the cooling down, you can make a console the size of a GameCube again with the power of more than an Xbox One.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And, I mean, once Fiji gets down in price or whatever, then maybe they'll stick a Fiji in there and have a fucking Fury X or a Fury in a damn game console.
Yeah,
or
they already had that Fury Nano. Yeah, just stick that motherfucker in that's the bottom, and then you fucking put the rest of the shit on top, and bam.
The console is a heatsink.
Yeah, let's just bring back the frag box. I want to see there is some gaming news. Like Warner Brothers said they're going to be putting Arkham Knight back on sale.
Yeah, I saw that. Finally. I've already hadn't beaten it.
And as we said when we were talking about it, the only reason why that game got taken off wasn't because it was a bad port. Because if they could, they would keep selling it. Yeah. No questions asked. But the fact is, Steam just introduced that refund policy at the same time it came out, around the same time, and so. It's one of the first big game releases that had to exist in that world where people can get their money back on PC. Yeah. On the digital format. In any digital format. In an easy manner like that, where you just go to them and say, I played this game for 2 hours, it broke as fuck, don't work. Yeah. Send it back, And they're like, well, okay. And then they just take it back and they refund your money. And there's a lot of sketch with that too, because somebody was pointing out, well, if they give you $20 back in Steam credit, like, you pay $20 for a game, you didn't like it. So you pay $20 of your real money. They've already taken their cut of your $20 of your real money. Yeah. Steam has. And now what they're doing is they're then taking $20 out of the fund that all the money goes into before it gets sent to the developer for all the sales for that period. So now they're pulling $20 out of that. They're not pulling out what they sent them. They're pulling $20 out. Yeah. And they're giving you back $20. Yeah. Now, next time you buy something, they're taking another cut off that $20 they gave you. Yeah. So they're making double their money on you without you ever fucking doing anything. You're just thinking consumer rights.
Yeah, I think you actually told me about that whole situation. Is kind of brilliant and kind of fucked up.
It's Valve. It's as Valve as they can get. They're going to make money off of you. But that just leads to my other point, which is, with this generation, I feel like we were sold a bill of goods, Like, we were sold this concept that these consoles are just like PCs, and they're just like PCs, and they're going to work like PCs, and their developers are going to be able to make games that work perfectly across all platforms, and there's not going to be any more issues. And fucking Arkham Knight comes out, and it don't fucking work.
It's just not the case at all. However, with DirectX 12 and pretty much direct hardware communication, that's going to be really, 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 really good for console ports.
Because of the rise of Unity and the rise of Unreal 4 being a free-to-use engine, and like all these other free-to-use engines that are coming out, there's entirely a possibility that this generation of consoles could be in trouble. Depends on the success of something like the Steam boxes, you know.
Yeah. Which I don't think they're going to do really well. Not in the first gen, just because everyone's already gotten.
I just don't think there's I always said there's no market for it.
Yeah.
There's not really there is a like I just hooked up my computer's in my living room now.
Yeah.
You know, like I have it set up like originally it was just hooked up to the TV, and I said, well, I got to use this as a computer at some point. So I just pulled the desk into the living room, and now it's like sitting next to the TV, and I got the monitor hooked up, and I just mirror the monitor of the TV. You know, so if I want to play a game, I just fucking on the TV. I can play it on TV or I can play it on the computer or whatever.
Yeah.
It's fucking great. And it feels right in the living room space to have that system, and the big picture mode, they just had a recent update to it, fucking looks even better, works even better, especially.
I played with it once or twice. I've been playing Metal Gear so much I haven't touched my PC hardly. I kind of feel bad.
Yeah. Should buy Metal Gear on PC.
I'm kind of glad I didn't, though, just because, you know, big screen, living room and all. I don't want to.
Which is the whole reason why I moved my computer into the living room. I was like, well, I want to play it on the big screen, you know?
Well, if I want to do anything else on here, I mean, I got to use it as a workstation for animation and
I've noticed some weird stuff, too, though. Like, looking at it on the TV, it looks great. There's, like, no problems whatsoever. Yeah. But then I look over to the monitor, and there's, like, screen tearing.
Odd.
But it's not showing up on the TV. You know?
Maybe the port on the graphics card.
Maybe. But, like, I guess it could just be, I mean, one's a VGA or DVI, and the other one's a HDMI.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that has something to do with it.
Is the TV the HDMI?
Yeah, I got the HDMI is going to the TV, and the DVI is going to the monitor.
Huh.
But for some reason, the monitor's got the screen tearing, and the TV doesn't. And they're both 1080 60 frames a second, you know.
If that monitor has a HDMI, just try the HDMI into the monitor and see what happens.
Have to.
Might just be the DVI port.
HDMI cord or something. I mean, it could be something that's easily fixable, but I don't really, because I don't play it.
Yeah.
I play it on the TV. The TV looks fine, you know. Like, I don't really have that problem with any of the other games or anything else that goes on in that. It could also just be like, I haven't tried it not mirroring the two.
Yeah.
I haven't seen if like maybe there's something going on with how it's displaying on two separate monitors. Granted, it's displaying the same image on both of them. I don't know how much harder it has to work to do something like that. But
it shouldn't be really working at all.
Yeah, it shouldn't be working at all. I mean, it's just putting out two separate outputs.
Yeah. Like, I think as long as you're only running a game on a single monitor, it doesn't really hurt it much to have the other one static or doing whatever.
Yeah.
I would just try doing like I have here, you know, have two separate ones.
Maybe I originally had it set up to where it was like one was the desktop and the other one was the secondary monitor, but I just didn't want to have to worry about some games not supporting that as well as others, or having to go through and mess with the settings of specific things, which, I mean, like, the Catalyst software handles a lot of that stuff anyway.
Yeah.
But, you know, of course, I'm still using that same old graphics card. I still haven't even installed the new one. Yeah, so
$290 will be a big boost for you.
I mean, it's like I said, the fucking game still looks amazing. So, you know, not to mention I'm almost done with it. You know,
really,
like, almost done with it story wise, but almost just like in general, just like I feel like I've almost burned out on it. Not that it's a bad game, but it's a lot of game.
I'm still way behind you.
I feel so like, I don't know, I'm so conflicted about that game. I don't want to keep talking about Metal Gear because that's all we fucking talk about, but there's this weird sort of meme going around that the game is unfinished.
Yeah.
And it was a big thing when like the reviews started coming out and everybody was talking about how great the game is, 10 out of 10. And then like 2 weeks later, we were like, it's unfinished. They didn't finish their game. Konami ruined Kojima's vision.
And they kind of did.
But I mean, at the same time, I'm looking at it and I'm like, there's a lot of fucking game here, guys. Yeah. You know, I don't know any other fucking world where you would look at something that's fucking 60 plus hours easily of gameplay and say, it's unfinished. You know?
Final Fantasy X.
Well, yeah. But like the idea.
No, not 10. 13. My bad.
13, yeah. Well, I think half-baked is different than being unfinished. Yeah. But there's like more, you're more than willing to spend $60 on a 10-hour experience. Like an Uncharted.
Yeah.
But because, but then arguing that this 60-plus hour open world experience is unfinished, And really, the whole argument stems from the fact that they put an extra cutscene on the collector's edition DVD and just said, "Hey, look, here's this other cutscene we were going to do, but we decided not to.
Yeah.
This was going to be a whole other bit of the game, but we decided not to do it because of budget reasons." It's the same thing as somebody putting a deleted scene on a DVD and saying, "Are you going to say this movie's unfinished because they showed you the deleted scene that they took out to make the story more concise or to not make the fucking shit confusing for the people watching it?"
But Kojima's not known for that either.
Right, but it's...
I think the big thing that a lot of people are going on about is that there's no non-enemy NPCs. There's no civilians. And they're right. I mean, that does feel strange. There's not even a single farmer.
I feel like it would have been cool if, like, they pulled in a little bit of that Metal Gear Solid 4 stuff of, like, there's a war going on and you're an extra individual that's in that environment. Like, if they could do something like that where they had the Mujahideen and the Soviets running around in Afghanistan, or they had the PFs that are running around in Africa fighting each other.
Yeah.
That would be cool. But at the same time, it doesn't bother me. You know, I do like my Metal Gear experiences to be me versus the fucking world.
Yeah. More
than the world versus itself and me running around. It was cool about Metal Gear Solid 4. But that was what was cool about Metal Gear Solid 4. It's not what makes Metal Gear. This game does a good job of taking those Metal Gear set pieces and then boiling them down and then somehow creating these huge extravagant levels and great maps that would make wonderful Metal Gear Solid levels. But then they made it this open world, you know, and they interlocked all these things in these beautiful ways, and they give you all these different ways to infiltrate and exfiltrate areas. And you want to say it's unfinished, you know? It's like it doesn't... Missing content does not mean it's unfinished. Missing content just means that they did not put that content in the game.
Yeah.
The game as itself, even what is there, is a perfectly solid experience. Totally worth $60, and you'll get more than 60 hours worth of gameplay out of. Definitely worth the tens that it got. Definitely worth everything that it's offering. I mean, I guess it's just entitled Konami or entitled Metal Gear Solid fans. I mean, we're the worst. Like we are. Like there's no denying it. We love the thing we hate the thing we love, and we love the thing we hate. You know, it's like we love Metal Gear Solid as a franchise, but we fucking hate Konami and Kojima and everything that he creates, but we love it. You know, it's like this weird sadomasochistic relationship that we have.
I mean, he always caught flack about the strangeness and the box and all that, and all the super duper fan service and everything. He always caught so much shit about it, but we loved it. We ate it up. We thought it was the best, but we talked so much shit about it. And by we, I mean fucking V assholes. Well, I still can't go there.
Oh yeah, there's no point. You're not gonna be able to go there ever. I mean, I wouldn't go there anyway.
I did go there to find like unknown anime, Eastern RPG stuff, you know, because I do have some good opinions about that. But
I'll just go to VG. I feel like it's smarter V. Plus, not to mention, it's like
I guess it's slower too.
It's more isolated.
Yeah,
you know, like if you want to avoid Metal Gear Solid spoilers, you just don't go on the Metal Gear Solid thread.
Yeah.
But you can go into any other thread and learn about any other game that you want, you know, and it's all there.
Yeah.
And they give you whole, like, fucking data dumps of shit. And it's fucking a wonderful resource. V is just B with video games.
Yeah.
And, you know, and granted, I think the level of discourse is closer to that of, like, 2007 B.
Yeah.
Where if you felt edgy and cool going there and talking shit to people, but now B is just some fucking... Like,
B is just a porn gore hole.
Yeah. Like, and I feel like, again, it's just teens trying to think they're fucking edgy and shit, posting shit.
I went in there for the first time the other day and found a thread that had some serious potential. I haven't been to B in like 3 or 4 years even. And there was a fails thread or something?
It was a wrecked thread.
Oh, it was a wrecked thread.
Which is like a fail thread. But I mean, again, I don't even... the dank memes have escaped me recently, so I'm not...
I came across a few that I'd never seen before, which is odd. But, you know, I've been on being a long ass time. So, like, the first 3 or 4, the thread was still young. I was like, oh my god, these are really good. Guys, getting this thread. I sent it to you and Jeff. And the very next thing it's posted is, like, some fucking... disgusting gore thing, and then right after that some gore porn, and there's another thing.
It just keeps going and going, and people, And
then I had to send a message to both you and Jeff apologizing, like, sorry, never mind, just avoid it.
Yeah, just don't. I mean, I think I clicked on it, and then I was like, you know, like I didn't even like, because like I saw it and I was like, well, I can't
not click it now.
Yeah, and I watched the first thing and I was like, I don't get, why is that erect? Okay, I'll just keep going. Okay. And I was trying to figure out, do I misunderstand what wrecked means? You know, am I how far behind am I?
My favorite one in it, though. My favorite one, even though it wasn't that good, and I've seen it before, the file name got me bad. It was the one with the woman's on the leg press.
Yeah.
And, you know, she's sitting there smiling, and there's, you know, like a personal trainer right there. And then her legs buckle, and it comes down, and, like, doesn't hyperextend her legs, but her legs buckle, and she's, like, fucking stuck and obviously in pain. And the name of it was Leg Oppression Machine. Oh, it was brilliant and just
yeah, and like and you know, and again, I go there for the same reasons like I used to go there, which is I just want to fucking giggle at something stupid on the internet.
And you can't go there to giggle anymore. That's what I went there for that day.
It's like I want giggles, and now I've just realized the best part, like they've.
Oh, God, I'm dying. I had to, like, inhale so much.
I figure out they've done a good job on 4chan of, like, quarantining out the things that made B fun out of B.
Yeah.
They've, like, cut them off and they made them their own things.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is probably for the best, but what it's left is all the worst shit about B.
Yeah.
Because if you just want fucking stupid meme reposts and shit posting, that's what you go to S4S for. Yeah. You know? And if you just want fucking, like, conversations about girlfriends and shit, you go to RK9.
Yeah.
And when
did they bring it back?
Yeah, it's been around for
I haven't even
It's
touched.
Fucking worthless. Like, there's no point in going there. But, like, it's, again, if that's what you want, if you want fucking people talking about how shitty their lives are, you go to fucking RK9. Or if you just want to fucking do cam threads, you go to Soch. You know, there's all kinds of fucking...
Don't go to Poll, though. Poll has become even worse than B.
Poll's always been fucking bad. And
it's always been bad, but it's gotten somehow even worse. Like,
and I feel like that, like they got bought, and I was reading some of the Q&As from that, and then, like, the answers the guy gave was just like... Basically asked him, like, are you going to get rid of Poll? And he's like, well, you know, if we decide... Like, if you want it, we're going to keep it. If you don't want it, we'll get rid of it. And, like, that's what his answer was. And it's just like... No, just fucking get rid of it.
Yeah.
Like, don't...
That's the containment board at this point.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like that kind of mentality doesn't work because there's not that many boards on 4chan. You can get away with it on Reddit. You would say that something like Arcoon Town exists because there's a bunch of fucking racists who want to fucking congregate, and they get to congregate on Arcoon Town, and you never have to see it.
Yeah.
But... there's not that many boards on 4chan, and you can see all of them, and Poll's right there, and it's... You know, and it's obviously the board where all the racists and shit and the anti-Semites go to hang out and talk about racist, anti-Semitic shit. And like,
what I would like to see is a safer work poll, just to see how that would go.
Yeah, like actual, like, real political discussion and stuff. Yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Like a safer
I mean, it'd still
poll,
be like, you know, Jew
which is what
and
poll
all.
was before this weird explosion of, like
anti-Semitism.
Yeah, I guess you call it like this weird, like it's this anti-SJW, you know, fedora wearing, you know, mentality that a lot of like
worst.
Like that 4chan has always had, but it just got worse over the last few years.
It seems like where the edgelords go to retire.
Yeah, because like it's you see the evolution of the 4chan troll, you know, as like starting out as the youngling, and he's like posting the fucking gore pictures and like random threads, and he's getting a giggle out of it, or he's like making half-hearted attempts at arguing and then passing it off as trolling or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And then he just fucking slowly evolves into this woman, this misogynistic like fedora monster that that blames other people for his problems instead of the fact that he's a fat neckbeard virgin who has no social skills and spends all his time on 4chan.
What's really strange about 4chan now is back when we were first around on 4chan, I mean, this is what, like the first 2 years maybe?
Whether or not people want to admit it, it was underground and cool.
Yeah.
You know, and it was like this unique thing on the internet that you couldn't get anywhere else.
Yeah.
Those, like...
There were things we'd never seen before. Yeah. Things that we...
Before MySpace... Like, well, MySpace was like before Facebook was a big thing. Yeah. When MySpace was the thing, and Twitter didn't exist, and
God,
so social media was social media was confined to one site, and that was MySpace, and you didn't get a lot of memes. Yeah. You know, shit wasn't posted
memes
like
weren't
that.
Even a thing.
Memes weren't even a thing. Yeah,
you didn't have it, and it seemed like everybody that started out around the same time we did. Every one of them started with B, and that was when.
Well,
B
for me, I and I take full credit / responsibility for the exposure of that within our friends group, because I found You're the Man Now, Dog. Like, that was what I found. I found that, and that's what I got into, was that, and then through that I found Encyclopedia Dramatica, and that's where I found 4chan. You know, like
I got thrown in by Brad.
Yeah, because I found, me and Bob would look at that stuff on his computer, and then Brad would be over there, and he would fucking tell other, and it just fucking came out of there. But again, it was cool. You know?
I mean, back then too. I mean, you got
whether or not people want to admit it, like ditching the memes and everything about B never being cool. It was cool. There was a coolness to it. There was something about being. Like feeling like King Nerd on Nerd Mountain, you know? Like,
I mean, because it was the first time we'd come across like-minded individuals that thought of weird shit like that.
Where you could post your stupid weird fucking jokes. Yeah,
and you could say like, "Do you ever like scratch your butt and then sniff your finger?" Like that kind of shit. It's like, I totally do that. High five.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, you didn't have to weed out the porn on B because there wasn't that much. And there wasn't that. I mean, there was gore, but you had to like find the gore thread if you wanted the porn, wanted the gore and porn and whatnot.
If you wanted the porn, you could find the porn.
Oh yeah, I mean it was there, but there wasn't like every other thread.
Yeah, it felt like it was isolated, and when it popped up, it felt like a treat.
Yeah, it was like, well, there's a nice ass. I can appreciate that. I'm gonna go into
look at this ass thread. But here's this other thread about this guy who wants to. Have sex with his sister. Let's read this. It sounds fun.
And then there's this one with Hulk Hogan drop kicking the Twin Towers. That sounds like cool.
Let's fucking look at this. You laugh, you lose thread and stuff like that.
Yeah, laugh,
you lose. I felt like to me, when I knew that I was getting, I don't know if he said I was getting too old for this shit, but when I knew that it was moving past me. Yeah, was when advice animals came into play. Like when advice animals became a thing, and like the format for what we consider memes nowadays, when that became what 4chan produced, was when I was like, I don't know if I like 4chan. Like I still went to it a lot, but the reasons for going there became less about finding something funny, I'd say around the same time that I was like...
We start looking for information.
Looking for like...
Actually talking and interacting with
people. Exactly. Like that's when I went to V, because I was like, well, I want to talk about video games. Yeah. And it became fun to talk about video games on V. And there was like the memes were very, very limited on V. Like V's like had maybe a handful of memes at that point, and that's where I discovered like rage threads and shit like that was through V, not through B, and where you discover X and stuff like that, and where you discover fun, interesting content that's actually on 4chan that isn't B, because you go on B and you're like, there's nothing here for me anymore. You know?
So my weird evolution was like, I started with B, then I migrated to B and X because I found some really awesome creepypasta, and then X became actually interesting.
Yeah, and there was a very short period of time where X was fun.
And I think I lived that one out.
Yeah, exactly. I think I was on fucking X almost every fucking day, staying up to like 6 o'clock in the morning.
There was some good stuff.
Yeah, because there was fucking and you couldn't sleep because you scared the shit out of yourself looking at creepy YouTube videos of like ghosts and shit, and just
fucking urban exploration.
Fucking doing eye dosers.
Oh my god, you did them too? Fucking, I downloaded so many of those. I found them on LimeWire.
Exactly. Yeah, and just doing fucking eye dosers and like staying up till 6 o'clock in the morning and reading creepypastas and like Ted the Caver and shit like that. And it's just,
it was good.
It was good. And then I knew X left me behind when Slender Man became a thing.
I enjoyed Slender Man at first, but Jeff the Killer really, like, once that started getting really, really popular, and like just everything was Jeff the Killer or Who Was Phone. Yeah. Or, well, not quite Who Was Phone, because that was like a funny, because you only saw it every night.
Like, it was so funny.
But then it got bad.
Yeah.
So migrated from there, and I think I went to Poll for a short time, and they weren't as bad, but they were still bad.
Yeah, when they first started off, it was just actual political conversation. Like there was that like what we were talking about, a safe work poll. It was like there was a little bit of conspiratorial stuff and like maybe half joking, like anti-Semitic Priory of Zion, stuff like that. Like maybe.
Yeah, none of it was serious, but it was serious.
Yeah. But then you get and you see how it's evolved over time. I mean, at this point, we've probably browsed some form of 4chan for almost 10 years at this point.
Yeah,
and my viewpoint on it is that the whole fucking website should be burnt to the fucking ground because it has produced nothing but. Like, it has produced nothing but entitlement. It is an entitlement machine. It has produced a whole generation of people. Because we didn't have that when we were on 4chan.
Yeah.
What we had when we were on 4chan was this idea that, we are anonymous, we are a legion. But that was before Anonymous became some go-to hacker group or whatever, It became, like, when it was meant, like, we fucking dress up as black people and raid Habbo Hotel, Like, that's what Anonymous was. It was a funny fucking internet group. And, not, we're gonna hack fucking telecommunications companies or whatever.
We just had fun fucking with other people on the internet that didn't understand it's just the internet. No one cares.
And granted, none of these people are good hackers anyway. They're just script kiddies who run botnets and shit. Like, there's nothing
not even that, just
fancy
DDoS guys.
about. Yeah, exactly. DDoSing is not hacking. It's just a DDoS. Like, it's the fucking oldest trick in the internet book.
Literally nothing.
And it's what 4chan specializes in. Yeah, you just make a robot visit a website a lot. Oh,
you don't
big
have to do
fucking
that.
deal. You can just do it a
get
lot
a bunch
yourself.
of people.
Yeah. Like, it's cool. Okay, you're doing fucking cool
whatever.
computer shit, but you're not gonna you're not learning anything. You're just being an asshole.
And then, went from Poll for that very short time, went from Poll to Mew. And that's where I got my first taste of real, actual internet just hatred.
Internet elitism.
I like elitist and hatred about everything because there was no good music, no such thing.
No such thing as good music. Yeah. You can't enjoy anything.
And then I think a lot of Mew people went to V. Because
I just think that mentality just went along with it. And V's always hated video games. That's not just a meme. That's just the truth. Like, you're not, and that's where the whole idea of late night V came from.
Yeah, was
that after the babies go to bed, we can have real video game conversations. We can talk about our favorite video game music.
Yeah,
like there was these awesome threads where you just do trades, and like you would just post a link, and you would you would reply to one. No, there's this website. That's what it was. It was a website that the whole website, the point was like trading links.
Yeah.
Like you would send a link in and you get a link back. And so they used it for trading video game soundtracks on YouTube.
Yeah.
You copy the YouTube link, put it in, you get a YouTube link back, and then you post it with, reply to your last thing, and it'll be basically your reroll, essentially.
Yeah.
And it was fun, Be like, well, fuck, I'm going to show everybody the Legend of Mana soundtrack, and I'm going to fucking give the Legend of Mana soundtrack out to everybody. And that was what you did for fucking 6 hours overnight, just fucking listening to fucking video game music and talking about how great.
Granted, I did find some really good stuff on Mew.
Yeah,
we did stuff with Mew. That was around the time that we were starting the podcast, or about the middle.
Yeah, and that's around the same time that I like. At that point, I maybe visited 4chan. At this point, I wouldn't even call it semi. It's not even like you can't even say semi regularly because it's not even regularly. It's like sporadic.
Yeah.
Like, I'll maybe go when a big video game is released to see how much V hates it or what the big meme is about complaining about it. And then maybe I'll go to VG for a particular game if it's something I'm interested in.
Yeah. Because
you can get all kinds of information. And maybe I'll just go there because I want to see what stupid video game has caught their attention this week and if I need to play it.
Yeah.
That's how I found Minecraft.
Yeah.
If it hadn't been for V, I would not have known what Minecraft was.
Yeah.
So I was on the Minecraft bandwagon about 5 years before anyone else knew about what it was, because fucking V was talking about it.
And then I went from Mew, and I think I went straight from Mew to G, because that was when I started computer building. And G is great for newbies, because
but the problem
I went there and I didn't know anything.
Mostly newbies at this point. When you realize, like when you go, that's really the.
Once you advance past the point of building your first PC and understanding what the memes are, like what happened 5 years ago with Intel and NVIDIA and AMD and all that.
That is the crux of 4chan. that you think that these people are experts.
And there are some.
There are some, but I think it's that because it's anonymous and because there's no way of tracking who the real smart people are unless they're fucking posting with an actual name.
Yeah.
You know.
There are a couple of name fags on there and trip fags that most of the trip fags on G are either really knowledgeable, know their shit, seem to actually work in the industry,
or they're posting when an anime ads are and like,
or they're like master trolls.
Yeah.
And I've gotten past the point of the newbie where I don't want to hear about consumerism and I don't want to do a desktop thread anymore. And I'm tired of helping other people build because I know what's out there. I know exactly what I want and what I have.
Yeah.
Figure it the fuck out, dude. There's 100,000
There's
people.
still a lot of, like, if that's what you get your jollies off with, that's what you get your jollies off with. But that's what breeds that same contempt that comes in every single board that's on 4chan of, like, you just fucking start hating it, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why so many of these boards appeared, like, at one after another, was because you had to isolate and contain those conversations because it just became out of control. Like, V was so full of Pokemon talk that they had to make a Pokemon board.
Yeah. And that board, actually, I did go there for a little while.
And V got so full of generals about specific video games that they had to create a generals board, you know? And now, like, SP got so full of alternative sport stuff, specifically wrestling, that they created alternative sport.
Yeah.
But still post wrestling threads in SP, because wrestling belongs in SP, damn it.
Sports entertainment.
It's got sports in the name.
I mean, yeah, like I was saying about G, like, I'm past the point of petty consumerism and newbie shit, but I don't know how to code. So, like,
I'm not reached that next level. Like, I can't look at an XML file and decipher what's going on.
I don't know. I don't know what you're trying to say. I don't know your script.
I might be able to, like, hack my way through a log file and like an event log and maybe figure out.
I wouldn't even call it hacking. Just like look at it and be, okay, that probably affects.
Yeah,
something.
That's what I mean. Like, just be able to look at it and be like, okay, that says something went wrong.
Yeah.
Let's figure out what went wrong, you know?
So I'm past the point of being a newbie.
I'm still at
my
easiest way for me to fix a computer is to cut it off and cut it back on again and see if it works.
And most of the time it really
does. Yeah, like I had a problem
I got a story about that. So, you know the old lady down the street?
Mm-hmm.
She was having a weird fucking issue with her PC down there. And, she was an old lady comes up there. Well, I got Windows on it, but, like, it's just doing this weird thing where it don't want to come up and all that and this and that. And I was like, oh, my God. All right. Well, she told me what was going on, but it was something weird. Like, it was trying to do, like, a refresh or some kind of weird thing.
Yeah, it just kept, like, coming off and on. Like
yeah,
that kind of thing.
And it was, like, it seemed very Trojan-y to me.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'll go have a look at it. So I'll go down there, and on there is just like this thing had Windows 7 on it, but the window that was on it looked like a fucking Windows 95 window, like the gray and not very much texture. And I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So of course I cut it off and go into the boot menu, and she's just looking like I'm a wizard because I'm in the fucking motherboard menu in the BIOS or UEFI, whichever one it was. And, I'm going through there and trying different things, trying different settings because, like, well, it doesn't have a safe mode. Like, it doesn't have a prompt for safe mode, which is weird. So, like, I go through a bunch of different stuff, restart it, and it goes to the Windows thing, and it just kind of hangs. I was like, that's weird. So I cut it back off again, go back in the menu, change a couple other things, and then find something that kind of seems like safe mode-y. So I try that, and it boots up into that and doesn't work. I was like, okay, that's fucking weird. So I forget what it was that I did. It was something that I did on this computer too, and it was like almost like a hard reboot kind of thing, like not turning it off and back on with a power supply, but which I did. But
yeah,
I can't even remember what the hell it was. It's some weird ass.
Probably one is like hold down these 7 keys at once, and then like it power cycles like 3 times, and like shit fucking works.
Yeah. So I did that, and it went back in the Windows thing and like held there, and I was like, all right, well, here's what we'll do. It'll run a disk. Like, if you boot it up, then it'll boot from the disk. It's like, okay, well, I'll just put Windows 7 on a disk, and we'll just fucking restore the whole thing. Yeah. You'll just reinstall your apps, you'll be good. And she's like, all right. So I go up here, and look for like 10 seconds for the ISO and realize, oh yeah, it's not easy to find anymore.
They don't use that one website, like, Digital River, where they used to just be able to fucking get the shit.
Yeah. So like I had 45 minutes before I had to go to work, and I was like, I'm not spending the last 45 minutes before I have to leave doing this. So I just fucking forgot about it and went to work. And that was like 3 or 4 days ago. And then this morning, the lady shows up at her door, and we see her walking up the driveway, and she's one of those chatty ones that you just don't want to fucking deal with.
Right.
So she's walking up here, and Laura grabs the kid, and she's like, go answer the door. I'm like, no, don't make me do it. Because I had gone, the way I saw her is I went out in the car to get something, and I saw her like turn that way, and I was like, fuck. So she knew I was there, but didn't know everyone else was there.
Right.
So like I had to go answer the door, and she's like, I just want to thank you because, right after you left, my computer just worked. Yeah, it's powered on, and it's been working ever since. I'm like, well, I mean, it's what I do.
It's what I do.
I tried to cut the conversation short, but she told me, like, for the 5th time that her dog was, like, thoroughbred and left her by her dead sister. Like,
feline AIDS or whatever. Yeah.
This poor old woman, she's so lonely.
Yeah. I don't want to ever get to that point.
God.
I'd kill myself. Big fan of possibility of assisted suicide after a certain point.
Just make sure you post in the. I guess you'd have to go to B. Where would you go?
Just do it like a Dubs.
An
hero. I don't know. Like Dubs names the weapon of choice or something. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, Dubs names the way I kill myself, or like
our way I am hero. I want to be classic about it.
Become an hero.
Yeah.
I love the picture of the Asian woman in the yearbook and hero.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's it.
Yeah,
that's complain about 4chan for a while.
Oh yeah. Oh, and then I've been going IC here, just like
just go to Reddit. I'm just telling you, just fucking go to Reddit. It's actually, it's what you want. It's actually
really
not. It's actually what you want. Like it honestly is.
I mean, I've gone there a few times. I go there regularly for Twitch,
and they've made like a really good mobile version.
The Reddit is fun one.
Well, just like the mobile Reddit like is a hell of a lot better. Like now that it actually displays a mobile version instead of having the shitty like version of the desktop on the phone. Now it has a good mobile version. It's so easy to browse and like you get what you want out of it, and you don't have to fucking go to like R Funny or shit like that. You just go. You want to talk about Metal Gear Solid? Go to fucking R Metal Gear Solid. Want to talk about City Skylines? Go to R City Skylines. And it's fun to lurk, Like it's what you wanted. It's what you want from 4chan.
It's so dead in a lot of places, though.
Well, yeah, because there's 1,500 different boards for even one particular topic.
That, and I absolutely cannot fucking stand anything on Reddit at all. I mean, I thought G was bad, but Reddit's just stupid about it.
Yeah, it's like that's why I don't go to like stuff like R Gaming and stuff like that.
I mean, it's just consumerism and like brand loyalty. Like even the AMD guys, and I'm an AMD guy, and even the AMD guys are just fucking brainwashed. Yeah, and it's just, I mean, granted, the Intel and Nvidia guys are fucking 100 times worse.
You are affected by consumerism.
Oh, I said, I'm an AMD guy.
You're an AMD guy. You're an Android dude. You got your...
Yeah, I'm very consumerist, but at the same time, I acknowledge AMD has fucking problems. Android has problems.
A lot of problems. Apple's got plenty of them, too.
I mean, they all have problems. I'll be
the first to admit it. But yeah, I mean, any kind of like hyper-vigilant brand loyalty towards anything and like the willingness to almost like fucking jihad against other brands and things. It's so fucking
like the only thing
what they fucking want. Don't give it to them.
But I mean, really, the only thing I do as far as consumery goes is like when somebody's talking about something like on Twitch. One of the fucking Twitch admins on our Twitch was talking about the requirements, for like running OBS and all that, and streaming and what the minimal rig was.
XSplit.
And not even that. He was talking about you have to have an i7 and you have to have NVIDIA this, and I mean, it was just going on. I was like, no, the fuck you do not.
Yeah,
you can have a fucking dual core fucking FX series and
maybe that was
fine.
Like OBS like 3 years ago when the dude openly admits that it was a shitty program built to work on his computer. Like that's what he said. Like it's like I just sort of made this thing. And
I mean, this was like
they've been working on it like a motherfucker, and it's
OBS is a brilliant program.
Oh, yeah, it's great. Beautiful for what it is, like a fucking free
for anything.
For anything, yeah. I mean, considering like XSplit has its own share of problems.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't found anyone that's not like obviously brand loyal that likes one or the other that much better, you know? Like,
I don't think there's anything about any particular... Well, I mean, when you consider the two big programs are XSplit, which costs money, and OBS, which is free, and OBS has all the things that XSplit can do, why?
Yeah.
You know, why spend the money when this fucking program works perfectly fine and runs great, and you just have to tweak a few settings to make it work perfectly.
It really seems easier.
And the fact that you can tweak those settings is there. And hell, the fucking software that comes with Elgato is perfectly capable if all you want to do is stream a video game to Twitch.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, if that's what you want to do, it's fucking got all that shit built right the fuck in, and you can do it.
But like I was saying, this guy was talking about having this monster rig and all Intel, obviously, and just completely dismissing the idea of ever using anything AMD, like specifically calling out, just saying you don't want AMD ever for anything streaming.
I don't know why you would be shitting on like a AMD build, because I mean the shit's made by the same company. I assume that their CPU and their GPUs probably work a little bit better together because they're made by the same people and not an NVIDIA graphics card with an Intel chipset.
Well, Intel processors and AMD graphics for a long time were like the go-to rig, and it's still a great rig.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I admit, there is nothing that AMD has processor-wise that can compete with
all they really do with their processors is throw more cores in it. Like, that's what I've noticed.
Yeah,
it's like their solution is just like, well, you know, the i7's got 4 cores. We put 8 in this one.
Yeah, so they made the wrong gamble, really, because you know, more cores was supposed to be
the thing. Yeah, and that's where everybody was going for a while there. Like even Intel's big push for a while, like way back in the day, was quad core. You know, we got 4 fucking cores, and we're gonna fucking blow the shit off these fucking doors. You know,
and it was because like they were thinking, there's gonna be people are gonna be running a lot more programs at one time. And B,
which is a logical place to go, but nobody ever saw the app environment infecting PCs the way that it has,
and you know, B, the optimization was going to happen. Well, optimization hasn't happened, and will not really take effect until
I don't know why when they're fucking all over the fucking place, and
it's
nobody's
just really
worried
hard
about
to optimize.
optimizing.
It's really hard to properly optimize, especially with the environment that they have.
Yeah,
and then what happened with applications?
So what they just said was, well, we'll just do multi-threading instead of, you know, focusing on...
It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
But, like, what really happened was a lot of applications and programs, I mean, they just started doing it all in one application.
Yeah. We'll just run everything on this one core.
Yeah. So you have, like, the first 3 cores being taxed at, like, you know, 50, 30, 10%, and then the rest are, like, you know, 5, 1, whatever.
Yeah.
Instead of being, like, really well...
Instead of being streamlined across the board, using as much of each one as you could, yeah. Which would be the logical thing to do, but...
It's just not that easy to do.
It's just not easy, especially because the fucking biggest chipset manufacturer out there says there's only 4 cores.
And you know, AMD's IPC, instructions per clock, is really low compared to Intel.
Yeah, which is really the biggest issue.
Yeah, that's by far the biggest issue. And with single core being as prevalent as it is, IPC is extremely important.
But I mean, if you're looking just for a standard desktop work environment, it works perfectly fine.
Well, I mean, even with like the A350, I
can't argue with the fucking price. I mean,
the price performance is
like the one that I have, the FX 6350. It's a fucking great CPU. For the price, I spent $99 in that motherfucker, and I haven't had any issues whatsoever when it comes to CPU power.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the charts of like price and performance, AMD is like.
Well, see, I'm not one of those people who fucking like
higher.
You know, I'm not one of those people who fucking sucks the dick of the graphics settings. You know, like I don't really give a shit if it runs smooth at 30 frames a second. I'll play it at 30 frames a second. You know, if it runs smooth at 16:9, I'll play it at 16:9. I'll play it at fucking 1080. I mean, it just depends on what it looks good at and what it runs at. Like that's what I'll play it at. Especially because nowadays the most fun experiences that are out there don't really require a massive amount of graphics, and I can't see the difference between 60 frames and 120 frames, so I'm not gonna fucking worry about getting as much frame as I can out of my fucking game. Especially with the fact that a lot of these games are especially the fact that a lot of these engines are fucking frame locked for a reason.
Yeah.
Because fucking physics are based on how many frames you're going, and like things that happen within the system are based on how many frames you have.
If you use VSync, you're fucking locked anyway to 60.
Yeah. So why argue with it? Why try to squeeze as much you can out of it? The game looks fucking great, and it's gonna look great. And half the time, the game looking great kind of, especially if it's a competitive game, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
You know? Like, fucking shit. Back in the day, people would just turn the graphics all the way down because it gave them a competitive advantage over the people who had the shit turned all the way up, you know? Because they're getting 240 frames a second on Quake, and this guy's getting 60, but you can see all the models. Like, they're playing with wireframes, you know? Like,
can you imagine fucking CRT?
Textureless
CRTs didn't matter.
fucking
They were frame
wireframes, yeah.
Fucking 200-something frames CRT with fucking Quake.
Yeah. That's what people would do, and they would fucking tear all the textures out of it, and, you know, like for a while there, they had GL Quake, and like it was like fucking OpenGL, 3D graphics, you know, hardware rendering and everything, and like people were like, hell yeah, buying these $300 graphics cards back in the day for these hardware rendering and shit, and like that was cool. Back to software rendering because I get 240 frames a second, you know, like that's what they wanted to do, you know, especially in a competitive environment. And there's also certain games like the Battlefield, you know, the Battlefields of the world.
Yeah.
You turn the graphics down low enough, the grass disappears.
Yeah.
The grass disappears, that's nowhere to hide. You know, like now you can see the dude who's trying to sneak through the grass because the grass isn't there anymore, you know?
You don't have any draw distance, but hey.
Yeah. Or you have all the draw distance because there's like no textures.
You turn the draw distance all the fucking way up, textures
down to nothing. Yeah, it's just like, here's this muddy mess, but you can see the dude who's like 200 fucking meters away.
That's kind of broken.
Fucking broken as shit, but that's
what I had to do with like Oblivion on my old piece of shit computer.
Yeah.
Just turn everything way off, like the trees were like Minecraft. Yeah. It was bad. I could play it.
Yeah. I mean, that game has its problems anyway. So why not make it look like you know?
I will say this though, since I've gotten my Fury X and everything, like it wasn't worth what I paid for it. I'll tell you that. Not because it doesn't perform like it's supposed to. It performs beyond what I expected.
Yeah.
But I also, I mean, I got a 2K monitor, got this thing running full 60 at pretty much everything, max settings. I mean, you know, I could have bought
You're getting
a lot
the
of
same
games.
Performance that you're really getting out of the...
Yeah, I'm getting the same performance. It just looks a little better, and I can appreciate it if I look at it and I can show it off.
But there's a place to go. You know, it has somewhere to go still, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I got lifetime expectancy is what I bought.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that.
Well, again, like I said, I mean, if you look at the fact that the graphics card that I'm using is this fucking thing that you bought, the first fucking graphics card, and you were just like, well, I guess this will work. And then you're like, well, it's not that great because I want all the frames.
Yeah.
And I take it and I'm like, it's got enough frames. You know, like it's giving me enough. Like it's doing what it needs to do, especially with a decent CPU to go along with it.
Yeah.
Like I haven't really noticed any like bottlenecks or any particular things. Like
I had a little bit just because I wanted that. I wanted the max.
You wanted it, if you want it perfect, no fucking problems, then yeah. But I'm so used to playing on consoles that I'm used to the problems. I'm used to the fucking frame rate drops and like the lags and the hitchings and shit like that. Like especially on like the PS3, which has its own set of problems when it comes to its weird architecture and how those games are built.
Yeah.
So,
and you know, we're about to come into this whole new age of computing with the new dies and HBM, and we're going to get some new graphics cards. Yeah,
it opens up the again, it opens up that PC market to either, you know, going back to that whole, well, is it going to grow or is it going to stagnate again? Because like if developers are willing to adapt and go along with the change, then there's a whole new generation of PC games that can only exist in that environment.
Yeah.
But, you know,
that's what I was saying.
You also have a whole generation of Steam boxes that are going to come out built on the old technology.
Yeah. Well, that's the beautiful thing about this new
super fucking
generation.
Cheap, you know.
That's the beautiful thing about this whole new generation, though, is with the DirectX 12, it's direct hardware communication. You don't have to worry that much about optimization anymore.
Yeah.
They can't fix anything with drivers anymore.
Yeah.
Because it either works better on your card or it doesn't work as good on your card.
Yeah.
And that's where NVIDIA's getting real butthurt. That's bad. We'll talk about that another time, but NVIDIA is pissed. They are fucking mad, and I'm loving it.
That's tears.
Oh, God, I need a milk jug for all of them. But I believe that's going to be it for us. We're going.
It was a good episode.
Oh, yeah, long episode.
Long.
Been a while since we had to get a long one. All right, guys. We'll see you hopefully next week, and we are working diligently on getting ready for a new YouTube release of video game content. Yeah. Been working my ass off trying to animate some shit. Frank and I have been planning, plotting, conniving,
scheming.
Yeah.
Like scheming is good.
Yeah.
Do we have anything to announce when it comes to the partnership with a particular group of people who live in Australia?
Not quite yet. Oh, they're from Australia?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Not quite yet. We are working on a partnership with a very awesome group of guys. Sent all our information and everything. They asked us to join.
They've asked us to join like 3 times before, but I always failed to follow up, or they failed to follow up. It's a lot of miscommunication.
I'm gonna message them like tomorrow morning.
I figure you're as you said, I'm the talent. You're the I'll let you run the operations side of things. I'll handle all the fucking creativity.
I'm talented too.
Well, yeah, I'm not gonna be drawing anytime soon. I mean, I'll just be editing the podcasts and the videos and.
I'm just the money sink.
Hey, you put the money in, I'll be here. Let me know when you want to buy some homebrew equipment for me.
All right. Yeah, we're working on the partnership with some guys. Hopefully they'll hit us up after they listen to this episode. Hey man, hey me back. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you haven't already, when you hear this.
Hit me up.
But yeah, pretty cool guys.
Hey,
hopefully we'll be announcing that soon.
Yeah.
That's it for the SOGOpod, everybody. Shit. See us next time. Or hear us next time. We eat Atlanta.